Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing today? I'm so happy to be here. I did not record an episode last week, partly because in real time we are on summer vacation and I have 3 kids and the schedule is just not the same. Also because of some of the stuff that I'm going to talk about in this episode, I wasn't 100% convinced and landed on what I wanted to talk about last week. So it was busy, it was chaotic, I didn't even really know what I wanted to say, and that's what happened. So after, how many years now? 6 years. We're actually just about, I think it's August 1st. We are just about to celebrate 6 years on the Awakening Her podcast. That is wild. And in that time, I've been so incredibly consistent. And in the last couple years, there have been times where I've given myself, a couple weeks off or a week off, or, I was always putting out 2 episodes a week. So there are times it's gone down to 1. And that's just me looking after myself, my energy, as I said, my family, my schedule, everything that goes into it. And if you're new here, or if you've never heard me say this, it means a lot to me that I come to the things that I do, whether it's one-on-one work with my clients or this podcast or anything else. I come with focus and I come with intention. I'm never just throwing something up and not putting energy behind it and not really caring. That's not how I do things. So if I can't come with focus, if I can't come with integrity, with excitement, with a clear energy channel, then I just won't record. And I'd rather have that for myself as a standard than just really focus on always having to have 1 or 2 episodes a week and all that. So that's my little hello. I don't really know why I even went into all that, but it's nice to be back. And I'm excited for today's topic, like really, really excited. So if you are new to the show, I just first want to say, hey, hello, my name is Talia Joy. I'm an author, coach, podcast host, intuitive guide, and this is my little corner of the internet. And this is where me and the community, this is where we have deep conversations that really do make real lasting change. So I love to take big concepts, big ideas, big goals, and really break it down into tangible, whether it's a metaphor or a step or an action that you can take. I like to take big things and make them real so that I myself can walk this path and continue walking this path, creating my dream life, healing, moving through, becoming all I'm meant to be, and obviously so that you guys can do that as well. So this isn't a space where we're just consuming or we're just like learning stats, things you have to remember. What I do, and part of my channel, part of what I do is it's an activation. It's a remembering. As you're listening, something may spark you or hit you, or there might be one thing I say that really makes a mark and really, you start thinking about, or it creates a breakthrough or a shift or an aha. That's what this show and everything that I'm about, that's what we do here. So I have topics, we talk about things, I love to give practices, but really it's here for you to discover what is meant for you when it comes to my work and this show. So I'm really excited that you are here. And before you dive in, if you enjoy this episode, I would love to connect with you over on Instagram if we're not friends over there already. That is where I'm most active on social media. That's where I'm posting the things. Also, if you want to deepen your own practice, I've written several styles of books. You can check out my Amazon store and you'll find over there something called the bedtime ritual, which is 1 page per night to reflect and reconnect as a ritual that you can do for yourself. There's a 90-day journaling practice called Both Sides that invites you to explore both sides of one piece of paper and both sides of your thoughts and your experience and your day. It's intended to be a 90-day journaling practice. You will also find Manifest This Shit, the adult coloring and activity book that has sold so many copies and I've had so much feedback. So fun. And then of course my signature, my newest book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, which is a self-growth, self-discovery guide, which is part storytelling and personal growth, tools, healing, learning, and also a guidebook inspired by the incredible and awe-inspiring transformation and journey of the butterfly. So definitely check out my Amazon store to see all of these. With that, I think I am good. If you're ready to dive in, I'm ready to dive in. So take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders, take a sip of water, and let's dive into today's episode. Remember who you are before you remember what you have to do. Those were the exact words that I heard through my team of light in my channel not very long ago, within the last couple weeks. And it stopped me in my tracks. It gave me goosebumps. And since hearing those words, it's been echoing into my days, and it's been leading to a series of coinciding events, coincidences that have just reinforced and reinstilled my focus right now, which is what I really want to talk about. And as I said, it sparked a series of realizations and discoveries and synchronicities, and honestly, re-reminded me of my approach to life, of my divinity, of my why I'm here, of why I've been feeling disconnected and bored and struggling, all of it. It's been bringing me back to my creativity, back to the source of who I am, and it's been really powerful. So I can't wait to share all of this with you. And I want to ask you something. What is the first thing you think of when you wake up in the morning? And for all of us, or for us, that we're all going to have different answers, but I want you to ponder something here. When you first get up and start moving through your day, what if you took a moment to remember who you are, to touch base with the center of who you are before actively pursuing what you need to do, what's next, what should I do? And sometimes for some of us, as I said before, I'm a mom of 3. I have a busy life. Some of us, it's not about, I want you to do 60 minutes of yoga and meditation before you make your kid toast. That's just not the way it is for some people and our schedules. But what if of course you could get up earlier, all that stuff, but it's more an intention. It's taking a deep breath. It's sinking into the seat of who you are, into your frame, undistracted. So not also in your phone, not also doing something else, not also running, in your mind what you're going to do for dinner or later or that appointment, but actually touching base with the center of who you are, which I'll continue to talk about in this episode and what that means and what it could mean for you. It reminds me of BRB. That's what I keep seeing in my mind as the tool that you can do to access this place. And of course, you can do any tool that resonates with you. But if you've been around the block with me, you may know BRB, it started as a nervous system tool that I created, but it is exactly that. It's to take a second to sink into your body and into this present moment. So I didn't even plan on sharing this, but BRB, you can go on Instagram and find a reel where I actually break down the practice. But B is take a deep breath. R is relax your neck and shoulders, which then starts to translate into relaxing your belly. And then B is body, dropping into your body. And I teach my clients and my community, you can do this in your car in 3 seconds or in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or you could stretch it out into a 15-minute meditation practice. But what it does is it brings you back into this present moment. So back to the pondering, back to the question, what if you sank into, for just a second, the stillness, the steadiness, the center, the realness of who you are before launching into what you have to do today, into the calendar, into the emails, into creating or talking to friends or looking on, at your news app. These things immediately derail your focus. So this episode isn't really about an actual morning practice, but it's a bigger question to ask yourself. What if all the way throughout your day? What if when big things come up? What if when you're pondering the future, you took a second to remember who you are before what you have to do, what you should do? So these what we should do and what we have to do, whether it's next and it's, taking care of your kids or an appointment you have or a client or whatever, or you're talking about 5 years in the future. We are often thinking, what should I do? What do I need to do? What is the answer? What is going to work or what's going to be effective or what's the plan? But in that, we forget who we are. And somewhere in the middle of me thinking about groceries and laundry and different things and what the future looks like and the next retreat I want to host, somewhere in the middle of all that stuff, whether it's about groceries at the store or my future success, I forget about the person who's doing those things, which is me. And I don't mean Talia the coach, put on your business hat, put on your author hat, the successful part of me, or even the mom, the go-getter, whatever. I mean the deeper part of me. The quiet presence underneath all these roles. The most Talia part of who I am. The part that existed long before the business and the title and the expectations and the responsibilities and the to-do list. And that's really what is on my heart. This is what I've been feeling. And I, even in my business, have been feeling a disconnection. In 2025, a lot of you know, I took, everything, I closed down everything except the podcast and really focused on myself and all this stuff. So it's been a couple years of me having this ick in a way. And it's not about an ick about the actual business. It's a scrunchy feeling where my energy feels constricted and I don't really know what I want to do, what I want to pour my energy into, what I want this to look like as far as my business and my vision and, my all of this. So I've been in and out in this crunchy feeling. And that is why this came up. That is why you're forgetting who you are. You're thinking about what you should do and what, people want and what people want of me. And should it be a book? And should it be a this? And what's the timeline? And I'm getting all wrapped up in those things, which they're all important. And I'll continue to touch on that. The physical, tangible world is the physical, the tangible. You can't just clock out or not pay attention to those things, but it's who I am being underneath of it. So something that I noticed is that when I am in times of feeling frustrated, disconnected, unclear, overwhelmed, anxious, all these things, when I'm in those states where it's not just one day or one moment, it's kind of like I'm in a fog for a bit, I notice, and I've just recently been reflecting on this, I look back and notice that I've slipped into either what should I do or what do I need to do right now? And the more I slip into those two things, say about my business or the things I need to do in my life, whatever it is, the goals I have, it's the more I slip into those things, the more disconnected I feel. Almost like little by little, I'm getting peeled away from the truth of who I am. And I'm looking at what I should do and what's out there and something like a business. It's easy to be like, oh, what do people want? What should it be a course? What will affect the community? What will spread my message? What will, work for you guys? Instead of who am I? What wants to be expressed through me in the most pure and unfiltered way? It's almost like what creativity wants to be expressed through me. I am source expressing itself. What wants to come through me, not what should I do. And that's just one example of my business, but maybe you can see yourself in that, whether you have a business or not, different areas of life. So one thing, I'm just going to share a little bit more vulnerably and tangibly about the business. But one of the things I've struggled with the entire time that I've been an entrepreneur, maybe with food, it was a little bit easier when I was doing Food Buddha. But in the last 10 years, one of the biggest things I've struggled with is making my work tangible so that you know what it is that I do, so that people out there, I can describe it, making it tangible, making it understandable for people. And so in that, it's become making my work tangible and palatable and clear enough so that, yes, people know what I do, but that so everyone can understand and can see, themselves in it or whatever. And there's a beautiful part of that. But for any of you who are entrepreneurs or creatives, when you start overly asking, like, what do they want? What is palatable? Palatable? Will they understand that? Will they this? I started to get ripped out of my creativity without even realizing it. So there's a beautiful side of being clear in your marketing, of being tangible in what you do, totally. But that can't be the driving force behind my creativity. And I love taking big ideas and bringing them down to earth and making it tangible. As I said earlier, I love helping people take spirituality and intuition and manifestation in the past and self-growth and all of that and make it real in their actual lives. It's one of my gifts. But what I realized recently is that I became so focused on trying to make everything practical that I stopped spending time in the magic, in the mystery, in the bigness of who I am when it came to my business, when it came to my message. I kept forgetting to speak from the channel because I'm trying to have you have a tangible win by the end of this episode and have a practice you can walk away from or walk away with, which is, again, amazing. But some of you, I know you'll be like, no, I get what you're saying. It started to pinch off my creativity. And I forgot to check in with the bigger part of me that's connected to something bigger. I started thinking for, the summer and the fall and next year, making everything really tangible, everything really. But I was saying to my husband the other day, I'm kind of sick of talking about like limiting beliefs. Like in my mind, it's like it's good and it's important and, moving through this and tangible actions, it's all very important. But at the same time, so is everybody fucking else talking about that, right? Me, Talia, I am a channel. I am an old soul. My eyes and soul light up when I talk about the bigness and the magic of this experience. When we talk about how to be a human in this much bigger experience that's going on and how to blend the two and how to make this experience the most important, this lifetime, the most magical that it can be, while acknowledging that seed of source within you, living from that source-focused, God-focused, earth, life path-focused perspective. This is what I am. This is what I help my clients do. There are soul lessons going on and deeper learning opportunities. And this is what I long to talk about in my everyday life, on the podcast, when there's guests that come on. That's where I just go like, yes, let's talk about all of this. Not because you need to know all of your past lives to make the most of this. No, but when we understand how this experience works and the spirituality and the intuition, and we discover that for ourselves and what it means, that is actually you as an old soul advancing yourself. So in that comes the living of your dreams, but it doesn't come through healing every single limiting belief and taking every single right action. It comes from remembering who the fuck you are, which leads you to why you desire what you do, why you dream of what you do, because it's literally part of your experience. Your soul had a somewhat blueprint, and those dreams and those aspirations and the impact you want to make and the change you want to be in the world, that's meant for you on a soul level, on a human level, on a psyche level, on an energetic level, on all the levels. And remembering who you are before remembering all the things you have to do and what you should do. This is going to be the path that sets you free. So in my spirals that I've been having in the last couple years and sometimes the last couple weeks, it just depends what kind of week, the spirals of what should I create or what's going to, land with you? What should I focus on? Where are you guys at? What do you want? What's the right move? Should I do the app again? Should I do a retreat next? Should I do a group program? Is it one-on-ones? Like there's so many things that go on in my head. And underneath of all of that was and has been a sense of anxiety because I don't know and I'm not totally clear. And this business, I'm here to impact the world, but it's also what I, make my income from. So combining those two, a business with like a mission and a purpose, sometimes that can get sticky where it's like, I don't want to force stuff, but I also need to make a living or I can't do this whole thing, right? So it's figuring all of that out. But when I'm constantly trying to figure it all out, I start living in my mind. And in that quiet moment where I heard, remember who you are before what you have to do, it was like, right, touching base with the source inside of me every day. And that's what I've been doing since that came through. Meditating so deep on the center of who I am, not meditating on what my next move is, or to hopefully access all the clarity I need in this half an hour. No, meditating on the seat of source inside me and who I truly am, awakening that part of me. Because I realized that my approach to all of it had slipped into a backwards type style, where waking up, physically in the day, but also throughout the day, all of a sudden entering the world of just doing and should and, all those things I was saying. What should I focus on? What should the next episode be? What should I do? Doing that before I've even taken a full breath, before I connected to my heart, to my spirit, to what I need, but also, as I said, what wants to be expressed through me. If I am source experiencing itself, what wants to be expressed through me? And the language is going to vary, but living from a God-centered self, a source-centered self, that may make you even more generous and giving with your love and your time, which opens up creativity, which opens up ideas, which, it's just... That was like, oh yeah, oh the fuck yeah, I forgot. I forgot temporarily. And this has been my journey. I've been spiritual and the I am presence within and aware of this for decades, but we all go in and out. We realize all of a sudden we've been slipping into a certain way of being that's creating anxiety. And it's time to take a full breath. It's time to connect with your heart, with your spirit, before thinking about just what you have to do. So let me ask you as we start to wrap up this episode, who are you? And that's a deep question, and there's no one answer. But start to uncover, unlayer, discover who are you when you take away the roles. When you take away the job title or the relationship status or the responsibilities, the expectations, even the wounds, the fears, the achievements. Who are you underneath that? And know that it may not even have words. Instead, feel into who you are under all of that. And sometimes when you get really quiet, you can feel that there's a part of you that has been there through every season of life. The kid, the teenager, the adult. That part was there in the darkest moments, in the most beautiful moments, in the most peaceful moments. The part of you that can start to witness your thoughts, but are not your thoughts. The part of you that is aware of emotion, but not necessarily consumed by them. It may be the soul, the higher self, the observer, the divine spark, the God presence, the I am, or simply peaceful awareness, you at the deepest part of who you are. This part of you is absolutely whole. It already is. It is. It's everything. And this part of you doesn't become more valuable when you accomplish more. It doesn't disappear when you feel lost or give you even accolades when you're all achievements. It does not need to earn a thing. It is the I am. It is the spark of source. And so much of our suffering comes when we forget about that. When we overly identify with just the human and the disconnection and the shoulds. But this is your invitation back to ask yourself, who am I really? So, wrapping up, I want to say that I fully understand that even for those of you that have been on this spiritual path for a while, maybe you've been tuned into my work for a while or on your own journey, it's so easy for us to go through seasons where we've felt deeply connected. We're meditating, we're journaling, maybe you're working with a mentor, or you're doing your card readings for yourself, you're exercising, you're putting your face out in the sunlight, out in nature, you feel guided. And then life gets busy. Bills need to be paid, businesses need to run, kids or family members or friends or your organization or your business or whatever needs to be cared for. Emails are physically coming in. And slowly, without even realizing it, as I've been sharing about what happened to me, and it has many times, our spiritual practice becomes something we come back to later, or it just fades into the distance. And it's okay. There's no judgment. When things calm down, quote unquote, we'll get back to it, right? But we need to continue to remember to bring this part of us into our day right now. And what if connecting to the deeper part of who you are isn't an extra thing on your to-do list? What if it's the thing that grounds you to do everything else? Whether you're connecting in first thing in the morning, or you remember at noon, or at 6 p.m., or it's right before you go to bed. What if grounding into who you are then helps you do everything else, instead of it being something we'll get to later? And we can find this seed of who we are through a deep breath, through the awareness, through bringing ourselves to this present moment. And for you, it might also be a meditation or exercise or, a prayer. It can take 5 minutes, it can take 45 minutes, but it's a massive shift. It's not to escape the real world. It's to enter your life and this real world, quote unquote, from a different place. So before you reach for your phone or your calendar or even just the next thing, put your hand on your heart, take a deep breath, and say something to yourself like, right now, I'm connecting in with who I truly am. And breathe into that. All right, so thank you for being here in this episode. And remember that returning to who you are under the fear or the pressure or the emails or the labels, that is where your possibility, your creativity, your sparkle, your light, and yes, your success, your abundance, all those other things, that's where it will come from. Especially in this day and age of AI and everything being like, we don't even know it's real anymore and everything is superficial, we are also craving depth and spirit. So whether it's a business or you're just going about your life, remembering who you are, remembering your heart, remembering your presence will give you a massive advantage in this life. In the boardroom where everybody else is like soulless and just AI'd, in an online business, in parenting, in your community, people who are actually out in their community connecting, that will give you the upper edge as we move forward, mark my words. And it's not that any of that stuff is bad, but it doesn't have heart and it doesn't have spirit. It does not have spirit, and you do. So let your actions, let your presence, let your being come from that place. And make sure to have a fantastic day. Make sure to tune into the next episode, and I will see you soon, friends. Check the show notes below for all the links and more. Namaste.